Sahaja Yoga. Saha means with, Ja means born. Yoga means union with the divine power. So, born with you, every human being, is the right to be united to this divine power. Which is a subtle power that governs this universe, looks after all the living processes, evolutionary processes, balancing. This power nourishes as well as guides us and could be called as the collective unconscious. Little narrow, but that's what it is. So we have to be connected with it directly. Apart from it, it thinks, organizes, and also it loves. So to get connected with it is the last breakthrough of our evolution. And that has to be achieved. So we become sages. And this was known to many people thousands of years back. But it could not be achieved because people were not matured enough to receive it, perhaps. But in modern times, it is already prophesied that this is going to happen. And this happening is taking place where human awareness gets connected with this power by which it achieves a new dimension of collective consciousness on their central nervous system. On our fingertips, we have the sympathetic nervous system endings. That's what doctors have gone into.
You explained that last night.
Yeah.
If we could just get away from that though, like, how do you actually practice the creative yoga? How do you teach people to practice?
First of all, you have to get connected. First of all.
How does that happen?
That's so spontaneous. I give an analogy to make you understand that if you have a seed, you put it in the Mother Earth, it sprouts. It's a living process. Or we can say that if one light is enlightened, that can enlighten another light. So now supposing I am enlightened, and if I enlighten you, you can enlighten another person.
But how are you going to enlighten me?
Just if you put your hands towards me, you can get enlightened. So simple as that. And that works. You know, one radio station in New Zealand, the gentleman is supposed to be doctor of philosophy. And he was asking me questions, quite skeptical fellow. And suddenly he started feeling the cool breeze on his hand. He suddenly forgot what question he asked me. He said, oh, look at this, what is happening to my hand? There's a cool breeze. And then he said, but not in my head. So I gave him a little balance and raised his kundalini. And then he said, yes, on my head. And then he said, there's a ball of kundalini, ball of cool breeze in my hand. Just a ball. See, there's a balling. And that's all on the tape, you see. So it happened. And he said, I'm such a doubting person, I'm so skeptical, I never believed into these things, how did I get it? You were just ready for it, that's all.
Well, how do you deal with people that are skeptical? I mean,
how do you do?
How do you deal with people that are skeptical of what you teach?
I know how to answer them. That much I know.
Well, if I say to you that I'm skeptical about it, how
yes,
would you answer me?
But you see what I'm saying, supposing whatever I'm telling you, you must have an open mind. You must have an open mind of a scientist. Think it to be a hypothesis for yourself. You need not accept me, because blind faith is not needed. Actually, blind faith is more dangerous. If an atheist there is better.
More dangerous.
Yes, because they are bound by that. They have some blind faith, they have their own concept about truth. So they are more bound than the people who do not believe into anything. That's what has happened in Russia. They are the ones who got it first.
What do you mean?
Because they have no conditionings. They have no conditionings. And so many got thousands and settled down into it.
I would have said that they had more conditioning.
Yes, no conditionings of any kind. So if there's blind faith, it doesn't work out so well. But if you keep your mind open like a scientist, then this is a hypothesis I put before you. So why not get it? Because you don't have to pay, don't have to do anything, just works out. If that is your own power, why not get it? It's sensible and logical, isn't it?
But how do you work out how to get it out of yourself? Like those people that went last night, what would they have come away from there?
Now they have come away. Now we have a center here, luckily, in Canberra. They can come to the center, and these people are very well equipped. They can tell them.
You have a yoga center here in...
Yes, we have. We have a very nice center here, and very nice people. Some have come from England, and some are here. And they can work it out. So there's no problem on that.
And the yoga center you've got here, how many people are involved in that?
I'm very bad at accounts, I don't know.
20.
In Canberra we have the minimum number.
We have regular programs.
I've never been to Canberra before. This is the first time I've been.
You have not been to Canberra before?
The first time in Canberra.
And how did all this, like, you probably explained it last night, but if you could just explain again how you actually came to yoga, or it came to you, like how you started on this journey of...
How I started? When I was, I was born realized, I should say. I knew all about it myself. But I knew also that I have to find out a method which will give our mass realization. Formerly there used to be 1 or 2 people getting realization, very few. But I knew that I have to work out some method. So I studied the subtle problems that lies in every human being. And I met many people like that. And I tried to find out what is the way one can work out that they can get our mass realization. You see the permutations and combinations, if you can work it out. And then I discovered it's not so difficult. On the 5th May 1970, the last center was opened out. And that's how it started working. Because that's the only center is closed in human beings. The 7th one, which is here. And that opened out, and I started working from 1970. I started with one lady.
What do you mean you started with?
Started means I called, there was one lady who was interested in it. She came to me and I worked on her and it worked. Then we had 25 people more. Because you see, as soon as somebody gets realization, the news spreads. It's a very big thing for Indians to get realization. They think that's the highest thing to have. So the news spread and so many people came. So first I got one lady, then 25 of them. They all used to come to my house to begin with. And now, then I started moving about. My husband got elected to a job in London. He became the Secretary General of International Maritime Organization in the UN. So I went to England and the work started in England. And England being a circulation of all the countries, from England people started spreading out. And now we are working in 40 nations, such.
And you're talking about the Russian situation.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that your creative yoga has made them more happy and healthy, or?
Yes, of course. There are two types of Russians. One type which is, I would not say, so evolved. They are like dishwashers and sort of people who are taxi drivers or things like that. So they care more for, say, Russian cigarettes, American cigarettes and things like that. But the rest of Russians are very well educated, very capable, and very well read, and extremely wise.
There seems to be a lot of them that are wanting to leave the country, though, if they're so happy and healthy there.
They are not happy.
They're not.
They are not happy because they said that they didn't find their spirit, this part of this area. And the rest of them, they are materialists, so they can never be happy. Anywhere in the world, materialist can never be happy, because materialism never gives you happiness. Materialism takes you from one matter to another, go on jumping, as I told you yesterday. That is economics.
How do you deal with that in a Western civilization like this, which is based on materialistic possessions? I mean,
you see, because they were put on the materialistic achievements. You see, that's how the theory started there. And so they said no God, nothing, no religion, nothing at all. But they saw through it that materialism doesn't give you joy. So they didn't waste their time in politics, gossip, this, that nonsense. They were busy finding out where does lie the joy. And so they have read a lot and they know a lot. Somehow they were just ready, I think. Must be some blessings. I don't know how to explain really, because it's so wonderful there, very wonderful people. And this problem of this food and all that started by there are more bureaucrats. It's not true that there's no food. Food was there. But the unhappiness came from the fact that they were seeking their spirit.
seeking the spirit.
Their spirit, you see. They were thinking joy is beyond. I have visited Russia before, so there's no inflation, no, you can say, problems of mugging or anything, no violence, very peaceful, and sufficiently enough. Clothes, they wear very good clothes, and everything is available at a very cheap price. Only thing they felt, they have no freedom within themselves to speak about everything. And that's how they went inside their being. They became introverts, started finding out what's the matter, what should we have. And that's how they found out. I think a state of mind which was just ready to get realization.
It seems with other forms of yoga, it's a much more subtle, more private way of practicing yoga. It just seems that I can't see what you teach people as far as relaxation and the other forms that yoga is supposed to.
No, this is the most open science. They have just like, say, transcendental meditation. It's horrible stuff. They just give you a mantra without telling you why this mantra, how this mantra, according to age. And when I discovered they were funny mantras, in Sanskrit they have no meaning. In our ordinary words, they said one was Inga. Inga means bite of a scorpion. Pinga means when a person gets possessed, round and round it goes. A person goes round, that's Pinga. And Chinga means when you show your thumb to somebody like this, you should show him down. So this sort of nonsense, and for that people paid 300 pounds for this. And for this, for another thing that they had is a Siddhi course where they said you will be floating in the air. I don't know what's the need for doing that, but still, for that I got the person who was running it in Rannoch in Scotland, Mr. Peter Pierce. He, his wife, his daughter, and his deputy director all got epilepsy. They came to see me. And they told me the whole story about it. Now he's writing a book, what all had happened. And they had put all their money. He was a diamond merchant, his wife was a granddaughter of a duke, all the money to start this. And they were told that you have to make them jump on the foams, these people, and tell them this is the mantra, this they have to say, and they will start floating. Gradually they found out it's all fake. And so they stopped sending money to them gradually. And these people became broke. They had nothing left with them. And he had to go back to South Africa because he was declared as a person bankrupt. And now there are many cases running in America saying that their bottoms are broken with the Siddhikus. And 6,000 pounds they took from each person to go to Switzerland, where they gave for 6 days the water which has boiled potatoes. And the 7th day they gave them the rind to eat, and the 8th day that potato. And said that you have to take this if you have to do the Siddhikus. And people accepted. There is a lady who is a barrister. She did it. Her sister did it. Her sister ended up in a lunatic asylum. She came to Sahaja Yoga. Now both of them are all right.
Well, with so many other people that have their own formulas about what's good for you and what's right for health. I mean, how do we know that your way is any better than anybody else?
You see, only way is to know first of all that you can't pay for anything like that. First, as Christians you should know, because Christ never took any money. Nobody can pay for that. Of course, now if I travel, first in the beginning I used to pay myself, and now of course they are self-respecting people, so they pay for my travel. And also here, say supposing you take a hall, you can pay for the hall. They don't pay me, but they pay for the hall, or they pay to the travel agent. But you can't pay for my lectures, and you can't pay for my work which I am doing of self-realization. You can't pay because it's a living process. Cannot pay for it. All these yogas are money-making propositions. Just money-making. But this is the point which people go against Sahaja Yoga, that how can it be without money? They don't want to accept that point. But in USSR, this is the point that hit them, because they knew you cannot pay for living process. They came to Sahaja Yoga after reaching a certain maturity in it. So they just jumped at it. They understood it. But here, even you will be surprised, as I told yesterday, that in Boston they asked me, how many Rolls Royces you have? I said, how can I have Rolls Royces when I don't take any money? So they said, we can't understand Sahaja Yoga because it is no business.
Well,
Even in BBC London, you will be surprised, BBC London man came to see me. And he said, Anglo-Saxon brain cannot understand anything without money. I said, I'm sorry, I can't make you understand. I will not go on your London BBC. That is the Anglo-Saxon brain. Who has made it? Is it a special time? It's kind of a queer idea that you have to pay for everything. I think it's a subtle ego that you can purchase everyone, you can purchase your guru, you can purchase Christ also. And they did sell him, didn't they?
what about people that give to the church? I mean, obviously
If they want to go to church, I don't want to stop them. But if they think they have not achieved anything in the church, they better come to Sahaja Yoga. Because Christ has said that you have to be born again. He has said you have to seek yourself.
If you don't charge for anything, though, that like when on your tours, I mean, obviously you have to live on something.
Yes, my husband is very well paid. I don't have to.
So if you weren't married, if you weren't in that situation, how would you go about it then?
Yeah. See, for such a person, there's always a provision. You should live with whatever you have. Now see, Christ was the son of a carpenter. If I was a poor person, I would have lived like a poor person. What does it matter? It's nothing important. You have to seek the comfort of your spirit and not of your body. Even now, I come from a rich family from my father's side also, and from husband's side, but I can sleep anywhere, I can live anywhere, I can eat anything. I have no problem.
Just coming back to the health aspect of just coming back to the health aspects of the yoga.
Yeah.
Do you practice yoga yourself?
No, I need not.
Sorry?
No, I don't practice anything. Because I'm just in it. I have everything now. I've reached a stage where I don't have to practice.
But you were talking last night about how it cures health.
Yes. That for you people. That curing works for you because your Kundalini has to be risen. When
Is that what? Sorry?
Kundalini is the source, or we can say is the power which gives you self-realization. You were there yesterday or not?
Yes, I was.
Did you hear me about the sacrum bone and there is a power? That power is the Kundalini which has to rise. And when it rises, it nourishes your subtle center. It's your own power.
What does Kundalini mean though? What
Kundalini is an energy within you.
And where does it get that name from?
Like what?
Why is it called that? Where does that name come from?
Come from? It is placed there in you, like a connection. This one. This is to be connected to the mains, isn't it? Otherwise, this doesn't work. In the same way, it's coiled up and kept in the triangular bone, and it rises within you. And once it rises, it pierces through this fontanelle bone area and connects you to the all-pervading power about which I was telling you. And as a result of that, it passes through 6 subtle centers. It nourishes those centers, integrates them. And that's how automatically you get well.
I think article in the newspaper.
In what way?
It's a little bit of we have a music program which is like to find out a little bit about. So it's not exactly that's what I would say.
What's he saying?
I was asking. I didn't want to monopolise.
No, it's a little bit different. Our story, mother is different. We have a music program.
Little loudly.
We have a music program at 2XX Community Radio, and the format is a little different to this
Can't hear.
interview.
You see, I'm little difficult for me. You're
I think,
Australian English.
Yeah, I think the lady's interview is a little different to what we're actually after. Our
I see.
program is
She's different.
Basically music,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we're after more to find out a little bit more about you, more or less an introduction, rather than this type of interview. This lady
These musicians, all of them, are so young, you must have seen. And one is a blind fellow. And with realization, they became so dynamic. So now they want to play for me and sing for me because they got it, you see. And the one who has composed it was a chartered accountant. He never knew any Urdu or any, poetical language. But he's become a poet.
Okay, well that will do me, I think. So I'll leave you to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.